Now, according to the Russian Defense Ministry, the Ukrainian armed forces have lost approximately 1,330 troops in what Russia calls the Special Military Operation Zone in the past 24 hours. The casualties were spread across various zones, with the highest losses reported in the responsibility areas of Russia's Battlegroup Center and the Battlegroup West. Specifically, losses include over 160 troops in North, up to 220 in West, 130 in South, 470 in Centre, and up to 255 in the East, and at least 95 troops in the battleground Dnepr. Of course, Matti joins us once again to discuss this. Matti, of course, in regards to troop losses, some reports are saying over 1 million people have died during this conflict over the course of the past 3 years. And now 1,330 people reported by the Russian Defense Ministry in merely the past 24 hours. What does this say about the scale of the sheer human loss during the 3-year conduct of this brutal war?
Well, it has been, I think these numbers are outrageous. I mean, they are the biggest numbers since the Second World War, because if you think about it, the Russians talk that they were killing more than 600,000 or 700,000 of Ukrainians. The Ukrainians, they have official counting of about 860,000. And they also are talking about not only losing 1,300 and something soldiers in one day, they are saying that's what they caused the losses in the Russian side. So you don't really know, but even if both sides are not saying the truth by 50%, that's terrible. It's a terrible number of men and women and children, especially men, of course, that they are in the battlefield. But those numbers are not going to give them anything more than one more village here and one more village there. It's really a waste of time and money. As Trump said, they are having battles in a plain place with no mountains, and they're just killing each other like ducks.
Yes, thank you very much, Matti Zaweg, for joining us here on NewsX World. It's a pleasure to have you, as always. We now move to our next story, which is in the United Kingdom, and Britain is sending defence experts and equipment to Belgium to help counter a surge in disruptive drone sightings that have temporarily shut down airports in the country. The head of Britain's armed forces, Richard Knighton, confirmed the deployment was made at Belgium's request, though he did not specify what kind of equipment or how many personnel were being sent. Drone activity has been reported over airports and military bases in Belgium over the past week, forcing flight diversions and temporary closures in Brussels and Liège. Similar incidents were also reported in Sweden and other European countries. Knighton says it remains unclear who is behind the disruptions, but noted that Russia has previously engaged in hybrid warfare tactics. Moscow has denied any involvement. Belgium's government held an emergency meeting after the incidents as investigations continue. Okay, now joining us is Keith Vaz. Okay, he is joining us in just a second. Of course, this comes as a flurry of drones have been disrupting these Belgian airports, with now the UK sending equipment to Belgium to help counter this surge in disruptive drone activity that have shut many flights and airports down across the country. The head of Britain's armed forces, Richard Knighton, has confirmed the deployment of said equipment, but did not specify on the equipment that he was sending. Of course, similar incidents have also been reported in other European countries such as Sweden, Estonia and others. Of course, Moscow has denied any involvement in the drone activity which have been cited around these Belgian airports. Of course, there have been multiple incidents of this across Europe as drone activity becomes more frequent causing flights to shut down and airports to close due to their presence. Of course, Belgium's government has held an emergency meeting after the incident, and investigations continue. This, of course, follows temporary closures in huge airports in Belgium, such as Brussels and Liège, where similar incidents, of course, have been reported in previous countries. And the UK has sent this equipment over to Brussels, where the UK is aiding the Belgians. Of course, now joining us is Keith Vaz. He's a former UK minister, and he joins us live from Goa in India. Keith, thank you very much for joining us here on the programme. Britain is sending defence experts and equipment to Belgium to tackle these drone disruptions. How serious is this situation? Are we looking at coordinated hybrid attacks or isolated sabotage incidents? Of course, Moscow has categorically denied its involvement in these drone incursions. What are your thoughts in what's going on?
Good evening, Thomas. I've now moved from Goa to Mumbai, so I'm coming closer and closer to New Delhi, where we can finally meet. Look, this is the most bizarre story, that drones, electronic equipment of this kind, which people normally associate, on the one hand, with attacks, physical attacks where people are killed as a result of drones, or people surveying the countryside or a city or a town, and then using that information for intelligence gathering. This kind of disruption, I don't think we've ever heard of before happening in Western Europe, and therefore it's right that the Belgians should be calling for help and support in trying to find out precisely what is happening. And whether it's reliance on the UK or other NATO partners, I think it's something they'll want to resolve as quickly as possible, because, as you've said, it has disrupted routine air traffic going over Brussels and Belgium, which is a very important country as far as the EU is concerned, because it houses the capital of the EU. So why are these drones there? Who are sending them? And what is the purpose of them? There's no indication, Thomas, that any of these have been shot down, as far as I'm aware. But of course, that's one way of ensuring that you will know exactly who's sending them. But I think the Belgians will try and make sure that no one is hurt as a result of what they're doing.
Keith, does Britain have any obligations to protect Belgium in that way? Of course, the General Richard Knighton said the move came at Belgium's request. What's the whole process of that? And as we know, of course, Britain is no longer in the European Union, and so why have Britain sent this? Why has Britain sent this aid to Brussels?
Well, the first thing is I don't think it's an EU issue, because it's not to do with economic cooperation. This is more to do with NATO. Look, if I was sitting there, or you, Thomas, was the Prime Minister of Belgium, you'd think, drones coming over us, everything is being disrupted. Should we ask the Americans? I don't think so. Let's kind of ask a country that we know is got good, sophisticated equipment. As you know, Britain has a particular interest in strategic defense, which Britain has, and is not going to use the information against us. And I'm not sure that at the moment the stability of other NATO allies will allow them to ask anyone else. So I don't think there's anything in the choice of Britain other than they want to make sure that Britain is giving us the information, giving the Belgians the information, and I think that that's probably why they've asked. No other reason. I mean, they've not asked any other EU country. They've not asked any other NATO country. The only country with the ability to do anything about this would be the French. They would have the sophistication, or the Germans. And the Belgians have decided, let's ask Britain. Yeah. I don't think Britain has offered, because Had they done so, that would be made very clear. They have definitely been asked.
Yes. Keith, Vaz, thank you very much, and hope you enjoy your time in Mumbai. Thank you very much for joining us. We now move on and we stay in the UK next. And Britain, King Charles led the proceedings at the Cenotaph on Sunday for the Remembrance Sunday service, with 2 minutes of silence observed at 11 o'clock. Queen Camilla, Princess Kate, Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, Prince Edward and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer also participated in the ceremony. Notably absent, however, was Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly known, of course, as Prince Andrew, before his royal titles were stripped. Remembrance Day, first celebrated on November the 11th of 1919, originally called Armistice Day, marked the end of fighting in World War I. Today, the holiday honours all those who served and died in all of the conflicts and wars that Britain has fought. Okay, we now move once again to West Asia, and Iraq has begun a special voting process in Baghdad ahead of its parliamentary elections on November the 11th. Over 1.3 million military personnel are voting at 809 polling centres, with 4,501 stations nationwide. The early vote also includes 26,500 internally displaced citizens. The process allows security forces who will guard polling stations on election day to exercise their constitutional right to vote. Iraq's Interior Minister reported that voting is proceeding smoothly at fully secured centres. A total of 7,768 candidates are competing for 329 parliamentary seats in Iraq, and around 21 million Iraqis are eligible to vote. Iraq's government positions are traditionally divided by sect, with the presidency for Kurds, the Prime Minister for Shias, and the parliamentary speaker for Sunnis. Let's take a listen in to the spokesperson for the Electoral Commission and a member of the security forces.
مفوضية الانتخابات اليوم افتتحت 809 مركز اقتراع بواقع 4501 محطة اقتراع للتصويت الخاص للعسكريين الذين بلغ عددهم أكثر من 1,300,000 ناخب عسكري. افتتحت هذه المحطات لهم الساعة 7 صباحا. أيضا افتتحت محطات للنازحين الذين بلغ عددهم أكثر من 26,000 ناخب نازح. افتتحت لهم 27 مركز اقتراع بواقع 97 محطة اقتراع. الناخبين في التصويت الخاص من العسكريين والنازحين يصوتون للتحالفات والأحزاب التحالفات البالغ عددها 31 تحالف و38 حزب، إضافة إلى أنه أعداد المرشحين هم أكثر من 7,700 مرشح اليوم يصوتون لهم المشاركين.
يعني ديمقراطية تنتخب بالصورة الصحيحة وماكو أي ضغوطات مثل ما تشوفوا أنتم إعلاميين وشفتوا ماكو أي ضغوطات طوب، وتنتخب بالصورة الصحيحة وتنتخب اللي أنت تريده، وإحنا نؤمن الأفضل والأحسن إن شاء الله. احنا كل ما تجينا ان شاء الله وجوه جديده ان شاء الله للبرلمان تدخل، شوف احنا قوات الامن الداخليه، شوف حقوقنا، شوف شغلاتنا، وثاني شيء احنا نامل قوات البرلمان الجديده ان شاء الله بها الخير، نامل ان شاء الله بها الخير.